Brian, over the last week, we had a big question because it was going back and forth everywhere. We were hearing one thing on X, one thing during the show, one thing from WWE, and tonight we finally got the answer. Is Cody Rhodes
Hmm.
versus Logan Paul title versus title? I didn't hear you.
No, it is not.
It is not. So we finally got the answer. This was like a big mix up. I don't know if they were trying to swerve us, but it seemed like Cody Rhodes just wasn't aware of what was going on because when the match was announced, Cody Rhodes said, I'm going to be a Grand Slam champion at the end of this thing. But we were like, wait a minute, hold on. Is this title versus title? Because Logan Paul never really said he was putting his belt on the line. And it turns out after tonight, Logan, I don't know if this was a play or WWE just realizing that things were kind of mixed up in the process, but they did come out and during this contract signing, Logan Paul did confirm that he would not be putting his title on the line. So do you think this makes this match too predictable or is this the right way to go?
100% too predictable. I still think that this match, as good as it might be, it was not the way to go because now you have two champions and only one title's on the line, which makes it seem all right. There was only one way out of the two of the both titles being on the line, and that was a draw or disqualification, however you wanted to do that. But
Yeah.
now it kind of lets us know what's going to happen by keeping Logan's title on him. So definitely interesting. Not that Cody was ever going to lose the title to Logan, just like Roman was in that predicament about a year and some change ago where he did face Logan. So I don't know. Yeah, it is definitely an interesting thing, but I think the match wasn't the correct call in general, though, if I'm being honest. I think that they can definitely cook up, but I don't know if it was the right call.
Yeah, but you bring up a great point just now. So you said one thing they could have done was maybe do like a disqualification or double count
Yeah.
out or something like that. I think that would have actually been a better idea than what they ended up doing, even though everybody would have complained because that's how they got out of the match. But that would have made the match unpredictable because of course, Logan Paul's not going to win the WWE
Yeah.
championship. But I mean, that would make it at least think like, wait a minute, Cody's going to walk out here with the United States champion. So he's going to be a double champion. How's he going to play off a double champion? Is he going to be doing like two matches in one pay-per-view? And who beats him to take this universe or the United States championship? So it would have thrown a lot of questions in there at least. But in this case, you know the outcome. They're going to have a match,
Right.
and Logan Paul's going to end up losing to Cody Rhodes. It's obvious, and I think this does make this too predictable. Where they could have, I think, got a better result if they did do the double championship and finish with some type of smalls finish. But there was another point in here because Logan Paul was going into Nick Aldis' office and LA Knight was coming out of it and he was kind of
Yes.
interested in that US championship. So I don't understand what the point of that was either because LA Knight lost his match tonight. So boom, you're back to the back of the line.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that's another way they could have gotten out of putting both belts on the line. You could have had Logan Paul and LA Knight wrestle a match, and then you can have him wrestle against Cody Rhodes, and that kind of protects Logan Paul as well because as a United States champion, whether it's against the WWE champion or not, I don't think he should be losing at all. So, what do you think's going on with the LA Knight and Logan Paul thing? Is that something we get to down the line, or that's just a
Yeah.
stupid tease that we'll never see?
I think it's something that they just foreshadowed for SummerSlam. I just think that it's
Mm.
something that they're kind of doing now. Triple H likes to plant these seeds where you'll see somebody get foreshadowed like 4 months before, and then you go back and you're like, oh, so that's what that meant. And I think that was one of those things today where I think at SummerSlam we'll eventually get that LA Knight title reign that a lot of WWE fans have been clamoring for. We have been stuck and just wondering a little bit like what's going on with LA Knight, but it just seems like they don't want to push him. It's just the most craziest thing. I mean, the crowd goes crazy when the guy comes out, but WWE is still putting his matches on house shows and things like that. So at least he had a match on Raw tonight, on SmackDown tonight. So that's the only thing I really got to say about that. But again, very very interesting. I do think that it will be at SummerSlam where this match does take place. But it's also crazy because it is in Cleveland, and that's Logan Paul's hometown or city or state. So That's another thing where it's like, are they gonna put the strap on LA Knight by that point?
Nope.
So
I think if they're in Logan Paul's hometown, LA Knight is definitely taking that loss. But he took a loss on SmackDown tonight too. So I mean, that's not the way you build him up if you want to put him in that United States Championship conversation. Even so, I don't know, man. And with LA Knight, I think they kind of look at him as just like I see him when he's cutting the promos. I'm like, yo, this is The Rock and Stone Cold mixed together. And I think Triple H being the guy who came up in that era, I think when he sees LA Knight cutting those promos, he's thinking the same thing. And another thing that Vince always said was, you're not over. People just like to chant whatever you're saying. And I think that might be kind of the thing with LA Knight as well, because we saw what happened when they tried to take Cody Rhodes out of the main event against Roman Reigns. The crowd went kind of crazy over it. Everybody went up with the "We Want Cody" tweets. But when LA Knight takes these losses, like the people really don't get behind him like that.
yeah,
You really just don't hear anything. But when he's out there, they want to cheer. They want to say, yeah. They want to do all of his chants. And I think that's about it. So I think maybe Triple H is seeing that just like Vince McMahon used to see it. And can LA Knight reach other heights because of that? I don't know.
yeah. That's the thing, man. It's tough because you want to see a LA Knight title reign. Like, yeah, whatever he's chanting, whatever it is, it's just the fact that the guy has managed to stay this hot for a while now. Like, it's not something that that just went and went away. And I know, like in wrestling, they've used the terms before, like we're just waiting for him to see if he can keep, stay as hot. But he's been hot, man, since like, I don't know, over a year now. I think last year in like around February, March, that's when he started going crazy, and he's been hot since. So I don't know what else they want, but he may just not be in their long-term plans. He's also like 44 or 43 or something like that. He's in his mid-40s, but then again, you got all these other wrestlers in their mid-40s, which that might become a problem for WWE in a couple years.
It can. And I mean, winning your first WWE championship in your mid-40s is kind of tough because we got this guy over now. He's at the peak, the hottest he can ever be. How long do we have to keep him here? It's kind of just like Cody Rhodes because he said he's not going to be wrestling for a long time. I think he said he just signed up until 42. So how much money do you want to put behind this guy before you start thinking about the next guy coming up behind him? But another thing I wanted to ask you, do you think LA Knight versus Cody Rhodes would have been a better main event? Is that the main event they should have gone with over Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes? Or would you rather wait until LA Knight's actually about to win this championship before he gets another title match? Because we saw what happened with Roman. That didn't do him any favors.
I think the thing with LA Knight, I don't think it should have been him versus Cody because LA Knight is also very over with the crowd. So I don't think that they should have paired up two faces against each other, which you could have still, got away with it. We've seen it before in the past. It's not the craziest thing done. But I don't know. I feel like we could have seen another heel and take in another place of Logan Paul. I don't know who exactly, but
exactly. I don't know who it could be.
It could have been somebody else, man. I know that they're holding that Randy Orton storyline, but sheesh, they need somebody like Hot Man to go on ahead and make a strong story with Cody. Because right now, like, you gave him AJ Styles, which in reality could have been his opponent now, building up a story for a month. But you just throw AJ at Cody Rhodes, and now he had like 2 weeks to cook. So now that's one of the biggest problems right now, man. I think AJ Styles should have been his second feud, and then even Logan Paul, he could have won the tournament and gone and faced Cody the first time, and that would have been fine. But very interesting.
Yeah, they got to start building up some heels, man. Carmelo Hayes, he's doing his thing though, but putting him in main events against these big stars and losing every match, I don't think that's going to do them any favors. Because really, this is hurting Cody Rhodes' title reign right now. He doesn't have anybody in there who can stand against him that's really meaningful. Even if they put Solo Sikoa in there with him, it's like, it's not Roman Reigns. So people are saying Cody Rhodes is boring right now. Shout out to Real Take Wrestling. Y'all check out Wrestle Vibes. He just put up a video about what's going on with Cody Rhodes, but he just doesn't have anybody to dance with that's really on his level. So that's really going to hurt his title reign, and that's WWE's fault because this whole time they were focused on Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, and they weren't focused on anybody else. Even Seth Rollins took a hit because of it. He was in that main event of night one, dancing with Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Seth and The Rock, but he just wasn't on their level. And it's because they're not focusing on the guys they need to. And because of that, these guys just don't have anybody to match up with them who can get them to these A1 matches. Brian, I don't know where we go from here. I think AEW or WWE really needs to call MJF and try to break his contract. They need to try to get some of those guys over because right now, with the current WWE talent, it just ain't happening.